We should be live. We are live.
We're
We are
live.
so
We are live.
live.
We live.
Well,
Actually live. Yes, we are actually live.
we-
I look insane on here. It looks. That's okay. I'm not here for long,
he's in the
fellas.
middle of an arena, folks. Give him a break.
All right. All right. Okay. We will be ready to roll in. Okay. Double checking. Getting things ready to roll. Okay. We're good to go.
All right. Let me send out my tweets. Tweeting out the YouTube live. Get us going here. All right, Cardinals. Should we do this?
All right. I'll start it off. All right. You ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1. We're live recording this right now. Or actually, we're live. We're not even recording this right now. We're actually live.
Literally live.
I'm here in Boston right now after BYU falls to UConn. 2-point game. A tale of two halves, Chase, to say the least. Quick programming, though. I'll be on for about 10, 15 minutes, so we're not going to be doing chats early on in the show. Chase is going to handle all the chats later on, and he's going to be doing that solo because I got to run after about 10, 15 minutes here. So, Chase, let's dive right in.
Let's do it, man. What a game. I had a lot to be upset about an hour ago, but now I'm feeling really, really good. Let's start with you, Carter. You were there in person. Tell us about your experience being in Boston, out on the floor. Looked awesome.
The energy was insane in here. UConn fans were crazy. UConn fans are exactly as advertised. BYU fans, there were a ton of BYU fans here. It was insane. And I'm going to start on the positives from this game because it was looking very, very negative after the first, I would say, 25 minutes or so. Was first things first, AJ DeBansa. Now, I came into this game and I said he's going to have a 30 ball. He's going to prove why he's the number one pick. He's going to have a Paolo performance like Paolo did against Gonzaga. First half, that was looking kind of sketchy. A couple air balls in there. He built it up too much coming into this game. It was in his head. You could clearly see it from the jump when this game tipped off. He wanted it so bad. And, you know, sometimes we talked about this with Rob, and Rob went to the other side, and Rob was right for that second half because little pun there. You like that? But in the second half, man, it was just a different story. He got loose because once it became like a 10, 15-point game, he didn't have the pressure anymore where it's like, all right, I'm just going to get into my own. And then slowly he built that confidence. Other guys fed off of it. But Chase, outside of AJ tonight, you know what the number one thing I have written down is?
Let's hear it.
What was the reason for the turnaround in the second half, Chase? It was defense. It was defense. Defense turning into offense. That has to be the identity of this team, Chase. When we look back at the Colorado game last year, we found out this team needs to be fast-paced. Yegor Demon has to push the ball, get in transition. Now, in this game, I think we figured out BYU has to be locked down defensively. Use their size and length. Play to your strength. You have Dominic Diamande, a guy that's sitting on the bench most games. He's 6'8" and can touch the top of the backboard. He's going to be great. I mean, you saw the energy he brought in that second half when he came in. Just this team needs to lock down defensively, and that is where they're going to get their energy. That's where they're going to get their chemistry. That's where they're going to get their flow. This team is the defense has to turn into offense. I think we saw that tonight. I think that's the bright spot in this game. And the fact you turned a 20-point game into a 2-point game is always a positive. It just sucks how that first half happened for BYU.
It really does. To your point, the defense is everything. I mean, it's an old coach cliche, but everything starts there, especially in basketball, man. Like it starts, that's where you get your energy from. Like knocking down free throws and that dirty stuff, putting up points is great and it's important. Nothing brings like the hype of the bench, the intensity, like getting steals, making big stops, getting blocks. More specifically, it was that full court press. I was shocked that it gave UConn, of all teams and all programs, such fits. But BYU has the guys to do it. This is probably the first time you could ever say a BYU team has the guys to do a super capable and just obnoxious press. And it was killing UConn. And like you said, Dom came in there. Just brought huge amounts of energy to them. And then it was just being aggressive. I think being down and kind of realizing the situation, understanding, look, man, we dug ourselves a big hole, kind of nothing to lose now, whatever. It led to downhill buckets. It led to a lot of free throws that BYU did an okay job of hitting, as shooting 78% from the line tonight. It's not bad. I mean, taking 23 is good. Because but like we talked about in the preview, like when BYU really started to figure out to not turn the ball over, be aggressive on defense, UConn started to pick up those fouls, man. Because it's guess what? It's really hard to stay in front of AJ Devansta. It's really hard to stay in front of Rob Wright. It's really hard to stay in front of Richie Saunders. It all funneled into momentum, right? That led to the comeback, and it was just fun to watch. There was a lot of things I was thinking, and everyone I think felt the same way when we're writing down notes. Carter, you and I,
Oh yeah,
are just like,
Chase.
I don't know if this is going to happen. I don't know if this team has it. All sorts of things. Go ahead.
The defensive intensity in the second half was terrible. You're losing guys in the corner. You're getting lost. I mean, it was awful coming out in the second half. And when Dominic Diamante came in, he brought that intensity, and then they brought that full court press, and those things compounded on top of each other. Also, you look at this game. I mean, when you look at it, pretty black and white. You go, okay, you lost by 2 to UConn without Moo Davis and without Keba Keita for what 60% of the game. I mean, that's a lot to be. More than that. That's a lot to be positive about. So, the other thing is, I mean, I already kind of touched on it, but the shots AJ was making tonight, man, and the moves and those end arounds, and like he had that one where he had that lefty layup after that nice little post move, and just some of those tough mid range shots. I mean, that was just NBA basketball right there, man.
It was so fun to watch. Like I came to the point where I was almost like, I don't care about the outcome of this game. I just want to see AJ do some AJ things and really start to break some stuff out.
You got that.
And he did, man. I mean, there was special stuff. The pull-up three to really – that's BYU's like coming back. UConn's keeping them at arm's length. And then when he hits the three, then it starts to really be like, okay, I think BYU can win this. Obviously, things went the way they went. BYU really had no business winning that game. But the fact they had a chance speaks volumes. The word I keep coming to, and it's stupid because I'm just some guy doing a podcast. I'm just so proud. I'm so proud of this team, man, for battling back, not rolling over. Like,
I mean, it was dead. I mean, when Rob Wright does that little, double move dribble and then shoots that air ball three, I was like, oh man, like this might be a 30-point game. Like it was getting to that point. That's how it kind of felt in the building. And then, okay, they brought it back. And it also, once again, Chase, it all started with defense. Also, another funny thing, he's sitting right behind me over here doing a BYU radio interview right now. Dawson Baker against Big East teams might just be a thing.
He might. It might be him. I was so impressed. The other thing, Carter, with all the guys that stepped up. I mean, obviously you're down 2 starters, so it's bench time. I thought Dawson was awesome. He didn't shy away from the moment, and I thought Dom was awesome. I thought Boop, even though the stat sheet doesn't show it, just not being afraid out there. Shout out Xavion, even though he didn't get a lot of minutes there at the end. I thought him coming into this game fresh out of high school in the biggest stage and being able to hold his own for the most part was super impressed. Shout out the entire bench for showing up and getting it done. But I'm just so impressed, Carter, that they didn't give up. It sounds stupid, but this could have been a 30-point game, like you're saying. This could have been the end of, they could be on the bus thinking about whatever, and they just didn't. They were like, well, we got to do something. They brought defensive intensity. They refused to lie down the entire game.
And on top of that, look, I'm not here to blame refs or anything. I'm not doing that. Let's just say Silas Demery took a page out of the SGA book tonight a couple times.
Yes, there's a couple missed travels there and stuff, here and there.
But yeah, I mean, overall though, I mean, you can't look back like that. Like, no. I don't think this is a what if game necessarily. Like, you can do it with the injuries maybe, but like, I mean, it was over. The Richie missed 3 out of the under 4 timeout, and then Rob turning the ball over. Those were the 2 moments that killed it. And those are the what if moments for me, to be honest. If Richie knocks down that 3, I mean, here we go.
I mean, the fact that you lose on a Rob Wright mishandled crossover is I don't know. Maybe this is just some ultimate like spinning narratives here. I think that's like a good thing. He doesn't do that. I mean, when's the last time he just mishandled a crossover? I mean, it was good defensive pressure, but
Yeah. He
that's the
was
guy I
driving it.
trust, and I still trust
He,
him.
he was driving into a lot of traffic tonight. And
He was.
what's going to be interesting, Chase, and I got to hop off here in a second, but with honestly, let's just call it like it is, with the lack of shooting on this team right now at the moment, you got to have it with defense and just penetrate. And look, most teams outside of UConn, your size and your talent and your athleticism, that alone is going to beat some of these teams. But the fact that it was able to disrupt a team like UConn is such a positive tonight.
Such a positive, man. Especially when like they were cooking, they were fueling themselves. Like I felt, they're getting hype and making timeouts happen, and I sound more excited than I should be because BYU lost.
But I mean,
excited,
from
man.
what it was, and when it was like, yeah. Now football's got a lot of heavy lifting to do now. They got to lift some spirits up after this one. But yeah, I mean, there was a lot of, literally it was just a tale of two halves, Chase. I mean, just my goodness, that first half was just, there was some awful stuff. Before we got on here, I was like, yeah, dude, I crossed off a lot of my notes coming into this one, and yeah. A couple other I'll go through some of the notes I had that I didn't get rid of. The chemistry still feels off. You know how you talked about like they need to go do like a vacation together or something. Something's got to be able to flow a little bit more. And once again, that goes back to I think that ends up figuring itself out on the offensive end from the defense intensity if that continues to happen. And then also with it being in the NBA arena and everything, it felt like in that first half, it did feel like a blend of the Bama Providence games of like, okay, they're getting punched physically in the mouth, but also it feels like it's a little too big at the moment in that first half. And then second half, they responded. So, I mean, that's a note I should have crossed out.
Yeah, I felt the same way, man. Which is weird because I really thought BYU got up for the game. Like, I think the first 4 minutes, they showed a lot of that intensity.
They just couldn't knock down a thing.
Yep. So I got to give credit to them. I don't think they came out necessarily flat. They came out misfiring for sure. But man, the mental toughness to stay through it. Other notes, Carter. Let's talk about the bad for just a sec. Other than the fact you lost, only 7 assists the entire game. Sorry, go ahead.
That's what I was going to say. I got one more thing, and then I got to run. The assists were a problem, and got to keep those turnovers down to a minimum going forward. I might be back later on, Chase. I got to run right now. I'll probably pop back in on my phone here in a minute, but I'll be gone for the next 10, 15 minutes. So chats are all yours.
All right. See you, man.
Everybody in the chat, go Cougs. I'll hopefully see you all in a bit.
See you all in a bit.
Thank you guys for tuning in.
Yep. I'll get Carter to go do his thing. I don't need Carter, y'all. I got y'all in the chat. Well, since it's just going to be me solo for a few minutes because our guy Carter's doing some big things with the Field 68, go check out all their channels and stuff. Since it's just going to be us for a little bit, let's blow up this chat because I can only monologue for so long, people. So I want to hear from you guys. I'll start at the top, starting with YouTube. I'll get over to Twitter in a sec. Again, I can't recommend enough the YouTube chat. It shows up a lot better. The X thing is a little weird. So, but I'll get to both no matter what. Alex, what's up, Alex? Always the first guy in. Lots of positives from this one. Love the grit. Yeah. Like I said, I sound way too positive for how the game went. Like a loss is a loss. But as far as moral victories go, I don't know how you can get much better than that, to be completely honest. Camden, what's up, man? Says, what a crazy comeback. Insane. Proud of our guys. Yeah, proud's the word I keep coming back to. Alex, we're live. Carter doesn't want to talk to us. Yeah, he doesn't. He abandoned you, but I'm here. Brent, BYU will drop, but they still look like a top 10 team to me. Yeah, I'm interested to see where they go in the AP poll. There's a lot of voters for that poll. It'll be interesting to see who stayed tuned into it, at halftime or even at like the under 16. Carter kept saying tale of two halves. I really think it was a tale of like 1.3 halves. I mean, because the biggest lead halftime, you're only down 11. The biggest lead came, 5 minutes into that second half. And then it really started to look like, okay, this might be it. And, they were down 16 at the under 16. So it'll be interesting to see if voters, to get to your point, Brent, if they stuck around. I think they did. This was the biggest game going on. And if they didn't, then they surely tuned in for the last minute there, seeing that comeback. Look, losing by 2 to basically a road game. I know it's not exactly. It's technically neutral court, but like that place was bumped with UConn fans, and they were an awesome crowd. I think losing by 2 to the number 3 team in the country shouldn't hurt you too bad. If anything, I think it showed BYU is legit and that they can hang with a team like UConn. Obviously, shout out them, they got the win, but being able to hang with them, I'm interested to see. I don't expect too much of a drop in the rankings, if honestly any at all. Uh, we'll see though. William -2 starters on the road. Positives. Signed from the bench, not too mad. Although that last turnover should have been an immediate timeout once we crossed half. I think that's a really good point to bring up. From my perspective, and this is just my perspective, y'all. First, I don't expect Rob Wright to ever turn the ball over dribbling because I think he's one of the best in the country at it. So that in and of itself is rare. I also think BYU was really expecting to get fouled at that point. I think up 3 with what was it, 20 seconds left. I don't exactly know Dan Hurley's tendencies in that situation, but I fully believe that Rob Wright or AJ, whoever's going to have the ball, was probably expecting a foul. So getting downhill into the rim for a chance to make that a 3-point play, if UConn was going to foul, obviously they didn't up to that point. I think was the thought process there. But I can't argue with you because I think if you draw up a play right there, KY is so good out of timeouts. You obviously get a shot off instead of turning the ball over. So that's the biggest what if in the game for me, which what Carter said before we left. Thomas says Baker's the most underrated player on this team. Man, I tell you what, I think he is. I think he was incredible, man. He just showed up for the moment. Obviously, he's 25 years old and has a lot of experience in college basketball. This is the biggest game I think all of them have played in, other than maybe that tournament game because the stakes are a little bit higher. But as far as like eyeballs, pedigree of who you're playing, this was it, and he stepped up. I think he solidified himself as sixth man tonight. I really do. I think him playing the way he did earned him that official spot, and he's gonna be the first off the bench with him. Boop. I think a lot of guys showed up today, like we talked about with Carter. Eli, what's up? Eli says this time last year, BYU played Providence. Shout out to Kevin Young for recruiting physicality and athleticism. Not only did they play Providence, they got killed by Providence this time last year. So, yeah, I totally agree. Shout out to schedulers as well. Shout out UConn for making it happen too. Only watched the second half. What happened to Kaba? Yeah, second half. Kaba just kind of got clocked in like the jaw. I mean, he got rocked. Honestly, I hope, obviously we hope is okay. I don't know what it is yet. They haven't said much. Looked a little dizzy walking off the court. Could be a concussion. Could be something with his, broken face bone, something like that. I don't know if that's the case. I'm speculating, but got hurt, got rocked really hard. It was obviously incidental. Both guys going for a ball, Kaba going to the ground, trying to dive for it, and just ran into I think it was a shoulder that just really rocked him. Preston, what's up, my man? Says Chase, such an incredible game. AJ being able to come in and take over a game in clutch moments was incredible to see. Generational talent right there. Yeah, what a fun just moment to watch for all of college basketball. Obviously, as a BYU fan, you come away with the loss, but as a college basketball fan, you just have to appreciate how awesome that was. Playing in the Garden, you have the bench is incredible. Calling that game, I mean, the broadcast is top notch. Celtics logo and everything, I think, added to the prestige of it. And you have Dan Hurley and UConn, top 5 team playing like it, and you have BYU fighting and scratching their way back into it. AJ showing out, awesome stuff. All right, I want to catch up to everyone here so we can get to live chats. Jennifer, lost to number 3 team isn't horrible. If they get a little fight before 10-minute mark, they win. Love the intensity. Yeah, I think they do a lot of things they win, but it started in the first half. They also had no business winning that. So I'm not dwelling on a huge missed opportunity because I think the fact you got back in it is the win. Mason says concussion protocol on average takes at least 2 weeks. We could be sorry, the chat's keeps on going back when everyone says anything. We could be missing Keita and Davis for a while. We could. I'm hoping it's not a concussion because it looked a little lower than the head, but I also haven't seen it in a while. I hope he's okay. Keita's obviously such an important. Nathan says, can we tell Rob to pass the ball more now? Maybe we should. 7 assists as a team is really ugly. The fact that you lost by 2 and you only had 7 assists, 14 turnovers, a 2-to-1 ratio on turnovers to assists. That is crazy. Obviously bad, goes without saying. I think Rob's strength, and especially in that game, he did this in Delaware. I think he kind of realized like points needed to be had, and he just was going to take it upon himself to go and get those. Tonight, I think he should have passed more for sure. I think his biggest strength is getting to the lane. I think he needs to settle in with everyone else, and everyone's the same way. It's not just Rob. Settling in and getting the chemistry, knowing where everyone's going to be on the court, and also trusting the shooters. Right now, I don't trust any shooter on BYU's team other than Richie Saunders. I still trust that guy. But other than that, man, I mean, you're really searching for someone to really step up. So, but I think the assists are going to be the big emphasis moving forward with this team. I mean, they know, coaching staff knows, they see what we see. Robert, what's up? Robert says, UConn fan here. Shout out, thanks for joining. But BYU is for real. Appreciate hearing that. I think BYU fans do as well. And y'all are for real. UConn's dirty, man. They're awesome. What a great game. Thanks for hopping in. Looks like we got some other stuff. Let's see. Man, the chat's bugging me. All right. Not you guys, chat, the software. One says BYU is for real. Sensational, excuse me. Says, man, this is annoying. Every time someone chats, it wants to go down to the bottom and catch up with it. What's up with Fox cutting to the women's game? I think it was thrown out FS1. They just wanted to shout out the women. Good game over, get the battle of the SCs. Christopher says 3 bench guys showed flashes of what they could become. Rusty, Monday, and Staten all had their moments. Yeah, super proud of all those guys. Russ hitting that big 3 at half to keep like a little bit of the life in it. You don't hit that 3, you're down 14 at halftime. 11's not great either, but sure feels a heck of a lot better than 14. Diamande, we talked about the defensive intensity with Carter. Really fits. We say the Mawit Mag role all the time. It might be like a little overused. He still needs to work on his offensive game, but man, when can you not use a guy like Diamande? And then Staten, I was so impressed, man. I mean, that kid's so young, and you can see it when he plays. But he played with the big boys. I mean, he was still getting his as a young guy, and I mean, Reed is an absolute monster and got him, a few times. But I was just proud of him coming in when he needed to. Right, he probably wasn't expecting to play maybe at all in this game. Right, all these guys weren't expecting them to play the minutes that they were. Super proud of them. Mason says Richie of 7 3-point was brutal. Yeah, and super uncharacteristic, man. I think if Richie plays normal there, BYU's obviously in a better position than they were. He needs to find his shot still, but I believe in him. I think he'll get there. Rogue, what's up? Says lost by 2, but they were down 15 most of the game. Yup, crazy. When Debansta heats up, watch out. Yeah, that was, man, I'll watch that second half quite a bit just for some of the AJ stuff we saw, man. Like the move on Caravan in the lane, the fake to the left shoulder and getting to the right, finishing with the left hand, like up top, the and one, 10-foot jumper. Man, all that stuff was just incredible. I mean, BYU doesn't make the comeback without him. I mean, he was most of that comeback, right? Putting up points. I think he had, 21 in the second half? Maybe even more than that. He was awesome. It was 21 in the second half. Preston says, shout out Dawson Baker. Way to come off the bench, make an impact. Yep. Talked about that. Greg says, another minute BYU wins without their best Kaba and the other guy. Yeah, I mean, missing starters. Another minute of that game. Who knows? I mean, the fouls are different, obviously. UConn did not shoot well from the line. They were letting BYU hang around because of that. BYU needed to hit one more big 3, and I think Richie was the guy to do it, and obviously he didn't. Shout out Dawson for keeping the minute, and obviously AJ for doing tons of heavy lifting. Isaac says if AJ makes those free throws, he misses. BYU wins. Wild. Yeah, in like a vacuum if he hits the free throws, but obviously situation matters. But yeah, free throws all across the board. I mean, 78% is not bad from the line. You want to see better. You want to see in the 80s. 78% is not bad for a team. You want to see in the 80s, especially with all the opportunities I talked about. Like this team can get to the line because they're so dang good. Greg says after the cheap shot to Baker, he really focused and kicked some A. Love it, Greg. He really did. One says if Saunders had just made one of his 7 attempts at 3, BYU wins. Amazing. Yeah, man. 07 super uncharacteristic. Rogue says, no, they don't, Greg. Rogue and Greg are going at it. UConn was on a skid there, man. They were on a skid. They really couldn't handle the press. I was like shocked. They figured it out towards the end. I think also BYU let off a little bit. I tell you what, another 1 minute, another 10 minutes, I wouldn't have cared because I just wanted to watch some more of that game. That was just incredible basketball. Brent says, I'm a diehard UConn fan. Well, shout out for coming in here, Brent. But BYU earned lots of, let's see here. Brent, I was reading it. This thing is killing me. We get on screen. BYU earned lots of respect from me tonight. Some tough play off the bench. I didn't see coming. Good game, guys. Yeah, good game to you, man. Appreciate you hopping in. Again, UConn's legit. Y'all got a squad. And he's going to be fun this year, although I'm pretty sure UConn's going to have their way with a lot of those guys. Candace says not BYU was on track to win. Greg and Rogue are getting into it. Kenley says, can't let a young team that hasn't played together a ton go down and not call a timeout in that situation. Fair point. Fair point. And that's the biggest, working point. I don't know if it's an issue. Well, it's an issue if it's costing you games. That's the biggest improvement needed for this team, right? Is getting together, getting their chemistry together. So I think he should have called timeout. I think you're right. But it is what it is. Christopher, thanks for the nice comments. UConn fans definitely rooting for you, the guys going forward. Best of luck. Yeah, totally agree. It's just a fun basketball game. All the respect in the world for Dan Hurley and that squad. As a Bosco stan, shout out Jack. Goodness gracious. Yeah, not his game, man. Not his night. Not a lot of guys' night shooting from three. I think it was the right move, obviously, to go ahead and keep Bosco out in that second half for the most part. I think other guys were just cooking and had it going, especially on the defensive end. He wasn't exactly what he needed to be. I'll just say that. Isaac says BYU was legit. Appreciate it. Marvel says we could have won. Rob turned the ball over. Yeah. Sucks. Six turnovers from him. Uncharacteristic. Super uncharacteristic. I think we won't see that many turnovers from him again. And it's against, the third best team in the country, according to the poll. And legit defenders in UConn. So, guys need to stop playing solo ball. Looks into the camera. Yeah, that's a crickets on that one, Jack. Not your best. Not your best. One says ball should have been in AJ's or Saunders' hands in high pressure moments, not Rob Wright's. If you're looking for a bucket, I agree. But I also trust him to take the ball down. And I really think they were going for a foul there. But if you wanted to get a bucket, yeah, I think you're right. I mean, taking it out of AJ's hands, even if you are looking for a foul, is probably not the right move because of what he was doing. And you go with the hot hand. Go with the hot time. Let's see here. Keep going. Sorry if I'm missing some. Chat's acting funny. People going off. Capa's awesome. Missed him. Yep. John, I like this comment, John. I think you're right. Richie is so much more the 3-point shooter. IDK, I don't know why we keep trying to force him to be that. Totally agree. And I thought he showed it a lot tonight. He's 0 for 7, and I think he noticed the shot wasn't falling, and he was just getting to the basket, and he was finishing, and he was getting getting fouled, excuse me. And I think it's a really good comment because we do talk about Richie as a shooter because he's so dang good at it, and obviously last year shooting over 40%, and the performance he had, especially towards the end of the year, everyone talks about him in that way. But tonight, I think he showed he's much more capable of all sorts of things. Getting to the hoop was huge. And he was just, I think he was sick and tired of guys overplaying him because they know he's a shooter. I think UConn gave him that respect. And look, they made it tough on him. I don't think he got a really clean look going, maybe one or two in there because UConn, I think, had him on the scouting report and did a really good job guarding the 3-point line. And he recognized that and was able to say, all right, well, then I'm just going to go past you. You guys are overextended here. And it worked. He's without making a single three, Richie Saunders still had 17 points. So if you say he's just a 3-point shooter, to John's point, then you're wrong because he did a whole lot more. So love that comment from you, dog. All right, let's head over to Twitter real quick because we got some guys want to say what's up. Shout out Nolan, Muller victory. Sorry, Arizona Coug Yank says this team showed a lot of heart tonight, but got to figure out how to start quicker. Yes. Another really good point. Obviously, with the Delaware thing on Tuesday, Carter and I talked a lot about it in our reaction. It was just a lack of focus, and it was totally overlooking them, and they were preparing for the UConn game and all that sorts of stuff. But the fact that you did it kind of again, I mean, it wasn't as bad as Delaware. If you came out like you did at Delaware, UConn probably would have won this game by 50. Um, but the fact that it happened again is obviously not a good sign. But that doesn't mean it can't be fixed. I totally agree. Because if you start out, just normal, and I do think, like I talked about with Carter, they had energy and they brought the defensive intensity. It was a low scoring affair in the first 5 minutes. I think both teams only had like 4 points of the first media timeout. They just couldn't hit shots, and eventually UConn did, and BYU slowed down, and UConn played incredible defense too. But you're right, man. You got to come out like seeing the first bucket go down early, especially if it's like a three. I think opens up the rim for all those, like every single guy on the court, right? So agreed. Nolan says props to Kareem Jr. Interested to know who you're talking about. You talking about Xavion? I think he probably is. Lanky, got that Kareem build. Moose or Hams. Twitter only does your @ handle, guys. So I'm sorry, but it says, dude, this time last year we lost to Ole Miss and then got destroyed by Providence. We are way ahead of where we were last year. Very exciting. Yeah, totally agree. Last year's team had a big turnaround, after that, halftime at Colorado, after that Utah loss and all this stuff. So if this team makes that type of turnaround, I mean, then the sky's the limit. But I think this team is more prepared than last year's team was. But you're right. The fact that they're coming in here competing with the best teams in the country on the biggest stages, even though it's a loss, is a great spot to be. And this team, look, I love last year's team, and they were so. I mean, they were really freaking good, right? Second weekend team and everything. This team's more talented than them, and so I think seeing that comeback tonight, seeing the fight, the defense, changed my opinion on what's going on. Thank you, Nolan. We got you, Chase. S Brack 95661 says, seemed like they checked Baker in too late when we desperately needed threes. Another interesting point. I think you're right. Like Baker was the hot hand, but you still want to go with your best guys, and that was Richie Saunders and Rob Wright and AJ DeBonsta, and I think you still want to go with the best guys in that moment, but at the same time, you do want those threes. But they got them. They made it a 2-point game. Fouled. It was a 3-point game. And we talked about the timeout right there. Maybe if you take a timeout, you get Dawson in, right? And then you're able to drop something for either him or Richie and make it happen. But they didn't call the timeout, so no need they couldn't get Baker back in there. Nolan says, imagine that AJ had 25 against the third-ranked team in the nation on basically their home court. Didn't even play his best. We are blessed to have him. Should I be this happy after a 2-point loss? I'm asking the same questions, man. I'm happy. I'm more happy just because I saw an awesome basketball game, but I'm also really happy to see the BYU have some fight and show that they can legitimately stick with one of the best teams in the country in UConn. I think it's awesome. Riley Himes, that's what it is. Says Def Happy Nolan. Team has huge upside. Yeah, I couldn't agree more, man. It's huge upside. I mean, yeah, the talent's off the charts. We'll keep talking about it. Yeah. Chris says, I don't think the start tonight is comparable to Delaware. BYU led 4-0 to start. Yeah, I don't think it was comparable to Delaware at all because they would have been down 20. I just more meant in general they've started slow this week, right? Obviously Delaware was a big time. But you need to be able to you need to score more than 10 points in 10 minutes is the big story here. But to a good team like UConn, if you figure it out later, you're going to be all right. Caleb Smith, shout out Caleb Smith, says, Morris found his corner three required more athleticism than Kaba. If you know, you know. Shout out longtime listener Caleb Smith. I'm so happy for Tyler Morris, dude, and we'll talk about that when Carter gets back on. Getting a three for him in the biggest game of the season so far. Maybe it'll be all season, to be honest. Awesome. Super happy for our guy. If you haven't listened to the interview with Tyler Morris, go back and listen to it. It doesn't matter the season started. Awesome guy to sit down with. I wasn't there, but Carter was. But I've listened to it, obviously. It's just a great dude. So we'll always root for him on this show. Big friend of the show. All right. Let's go back to the YouTube chat here. See what you guys are doing. Jack. Yeah, I like this one. AJ being the point man on the press had me feeling some type of way. Yeah, I really like the press, man. That 1-2-2 with AJ, letting them that you let them get the ball and you force it to the corner. Him getting up there with the trap with either Richie or Rob, depending on which side it went to. Or I think it was Dom in some moments, right? And that's where the turnover happened and the turnaround started to happen. Couldn't agree more, man. That was awesome. Let's keep going here. John says, and Boop looks like a freak in nature, but then he just isn't. I've never seen him move quickly or make a hustle play. I think he's not as athletic as we're used to seeing in Keba, but I do think he hustles. He really fights for boards. I think he's rough around the edges. I think sometimes, he fouls when he shouldn't. I think sometimes he gets caught maybe in defensive rotations, and he's not super confident of where he needs to be on the court at all times. But I really like what I see from him, Boop, even if it is still rough around the edges, because I think he's got the attitude of a great player. And I do think he hustles. I think he goes for boards roughly at times, but I do like it. Let's see here. Yeah, let's talk about this, John. Another good point. AJ was shook in the first half. Freshman moment, he adjusted quickly and was back to himself. I think that's true, and I think about if I went to my hometown. I mean, I know it's not exactly his hometown. I mean, it's like if you lived in, let's see, if you grew up in Springville, but then like you came to Salt Lake, and you played a game. It's your home state, and I think it's a pretty tight-knit community, like northeastern community. So it was a homecoming for him. He obviously was thinking about all that. It was a big week. Not everyone may know this, but like they had media set up specifically for him at that game. This throughout the week, and I'm sure he's doing media right now if he hasn't finished already and stuff. And he's done this, he's dealt with this for a lot of years now. I think he thought a lot about this game. I think he thought a lot about the crowd and the moment and the opponent. He was forced to stuff in the first half for sure. And he did look like a freshman. But the mental toughness to stay in it, bounce back, and then start to dominate is the most impressive thing to me. Like, by far. More impressive than if he just like had like a decent game the entire game. Like the fact to come out of that hole and to really gather himself and then legitimately dominate UConn for a good few minutes there, have 21 in the second half, is huge. 0 assists, still a problem, but he rebounds, and he does all the hustle stuff too. Can't say enough about AJ, man. So happy he's on the team. Kenley, defense got caught ball watching way too much. Yeah, again, another thing Carter and I talked about in the preview, UConn's one of the best teams in the country with that off-ball action, and they did. I mean, there was some there were some points where even the announcers are like, you can't leave that guy wide open, right? And everyone's dad sitting on the couch says the same thing, and I totally agree. There's still much to be desired in the defensive end. I really liked, again, the intensity that got him back in it. I think towards the end of the game too, when they really needed stops, they played really tough man-to-man defense. They tried the zone a little bit for the game. It worked in spots, but all in all, I think really good teams will always break a zone eventually. I think it's a good wrinkle for coaches to throw in spots to run for a few possessions in a row. Really good teams like the UConn Huskies, they will always beat a zone at the end of the day. They will always figure it out because you can always beat a zone the second you get the ball into the middle. And I think BYU realized that. They knew that. And they went to that man-to-man late. And I think it really did work towards the end. It wasn't always perfect because, like you said, wide open dunks, wide open threes from the corner in way too many instances because there's much to be desired. But I was proud of the way that they really locked it down there towards the end, for sure. To keep on with the defensive trend, here's what I think of through BYU's 3-point defense, particularly in this game, right? Let's take a a quick look at UConn's threes, right? They shot 8 of 18. 18 is a pretty low number for a college team to shoot in an entire game. And then making 8, right, you shot 44%. That's a really good percentage for them. It's because most of them are wide, freaking open, and they're good shooters. So they're going to do that. At the same time, Caravan was hitting like 5 feet beyond like the NBA line, and some of these guys were just so wide open, which in and of itself is a problem. So is it good 3-point defense? No, but is it terrible? It is at times. I'd give it like a C minus because I think they kept them off it for the most. I mean, only taking 18 isn't a bad sign, but I'm contradicting myself here because a lot of them were just so wide open. But also they hit some tough ones, man. Like Caravan wasn't afraid to just pull it from wherever, and he was hitting, and he played a great game. But there's also some spots they did really good. Much left to be desired, I'll tell you that. You can't be losing guys wide open in the corner. Guys like Caravan had one in the corner, he's wide open. He also has ones, he's hitting them from 40 feet. Either way, the comes to a point you got to say, this guy can't shoot it anymore. He's killing us. And I think they did that. Like Richie was really shadowing him towards the end of there, and he wasn't able to get a shot off after, he got his 21 points up, right, and just killed. UConn had 3 guys with 21 points. Unreal. Caravan was 4 for 4 from 3. Made every single one he took. So I guess it tells you all you need to know. Let's see here. Mason says, what do you think BYU takes from this game moving forward schematically, other than just how to fight back? I love this question, Mason. Shout out. If I'm Kevin Young and I'm watching the film from tonight, it's probably a negative film review. As awesome as you feel about coming back, as awesome as you feel about losing by 2, playing in the Garden, an awesome game, and they should be proud of themselves. But I know the coaching staff works. It's going to be a rough day of film on Monday because guys were left wide open. You only had 7 assists. You kept turning the ball over. So I think there's still so much to nitpick and to fix here. Moving forward, if I'm BYU, I'm focusing on 2 things mostly. One, we say assists, right? Only 7 assists. Like assist is only good if the guy makes the shot, right? So the number isn't nearly as accurate as potential assists, which they don't track. Maybe they do, but I certainly don't have access to it. So I'd love to look at the potential assist numbers, like how many shots are BYU just missing. At the same time, you need to pass it more than that because you need to find ways to get other guys involved in the offense in rhythm, and you do that with a catch and shoot from the 3-point line, and also finding guys. I mean, assists aren't just off threes. Finding guys in the lane, cuts, and here's where I think it's really big. It's in transition. I think between Rob Wright and AJ DeBansta, who are both incredible, don't get me wrong, when they get into transition, they like to keep the ball, plain and simple, because I think they know that they're really capable of finishing at the rim, right? And AJ's towering over everyone, and he's freakishly long and athletic. Rob is super Weasley in the lane. But in those moments, you got to look up. You got to see your guys. You got to reward those dudes for running down the court. And those lead to more buckets and more open guys, both inside and outside, right? In transition and otherwise on offensive rebounds. So if I'm BYU, I'm looking at the action off the ball, and I'm focusing on finding the open man. Like I said, I'm never mad when one of the big 3 between Richie, Rob, and AJ shoot it because they're the best they're your best options. But you also, like I brought up before, need to be looking to other teammates. I just don't know if they trust each other yet, and like I said a little bit earlier, they haven't given them a reason to trust them because they're not hitting threes right now. BYU just isn't, other than like Dawson in some spots and Richie, when he gets hot. And Rob's starting to hit him, but he's more of an off the dribble type of shooter. So I think building that trust comes in practice, right? In real life, not real life, excuse me, but in practice when you're running scrimmages, because anyone can make a shot on a machine, or against nobody. But they need to figure out to trust these guys, and these guys need to reward their trust. To my point, by making shots. Other thing I'm looking at to answer your question in a very long-winded way is you got to work on the defense still. You got to figure out the rotations. There's miscommunications. I mean, even the broadcast crew called it out. They said, I just don't think these guys are used to playing with each other yet. And I couldn't agree more, because there were moments, man. There were moments when it's totally lost. Michael says, you guys have a good team. Appreciate you hopping in, Michael. If you're a UConn fan, you also have an awesome team, brother. It was awesome. John says UConn ball movement was really impressive. Good live stream. Thank you, John. And it was. Let's see here. Let's go. BYU fan bro says, with Keita and Kennard playing, BYU would still have won it by 10 plus. Still need to tighten D, like the effort in the last half, and fix shooting problems. Yeah, it's tough to say if, just add one guy here, the outcome would be totally different. But it would have helped big time. And those are the two best defensive guys. We're talking about defensive problems and tidying it up. BYU's two best defenders are Kennard Davis and Keba Keita, for two completely opposite reasons, right? Kennard with the on-the-ball perimeter D, and then Keba as your rim protector, shot blocker, and you were without them. So as much as I want to complain about the defense, and there's still so many things to figure out, you were missing your two best guys. I mean, typically BYU, is able to block shots quite a bit. Tonight, let's see the numbers here. Only one block. So I think that's a really good point. Carter, you're back.
We're back.
Welcome back, my man. We can hear you. Yeah.
Okay.
On the court.
Much better now.
Can we see Lucky? Lucky?
You can see Lucky right here. You want me to go down from the court?
If you can. I don't want you to get in trouble, though.
No, we're good. I just had to go down there to set up at Field of 68 after dark, so we were down there. We can go down there. I can do it live from the court if we want. Half the people here are doing it live from the court.
Do it, man.
Do it. We'll
keep going while you're.
I don't want to walk around. They're setting up for the Celtics game tomorrow.
Oh man, do they play tomorrow? No, I gotta pay more attention. Is Jason Tatum still there? Did you get
Jason Tatum was
on for a spot real quick?
No, he was up in the suite. Your boys Jaylen Brown and Derek White were at the common folk courtside.
Man, common folk.
How are the chats been? How's everything?
Man, the chat's been taking care of me. They are good folks, keeping me talking. I haven't taken a breath, to be honest. Probably ranting here. Here's the most of the discussion going on, right, Carter? We have a lot of UConn fans, and they're giving props, and I'm giving props back. UConn's dirty, and we all know you're the biggest Dan Hurley fan in the world.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Look, you can call me Dan Hurley hater or whatnot. I still think he's the best coach in the sport. You're the one who said he wasn't the best coach in the sport. That was another thing I wish I got to bring up earlier. I'm glad I'm still here now, being able to bring it up. Was the stuff in that first half, the defensive intensity that UConn had, diving on the floor constantly, and just the off-ball action they already run with some of these guys who've been with the team for 3 games, and 3 games that really didn't even matter. They were all bye games, and they still flowed so well in that offense. That system he runs, man. It's interesting because he'll talk about it in his press conferences where he's like, I don't watch the NBA. I get all my stuff from Euro basketball, and he gets all his stuff from overseas. And it shows. It literally looks like, if you've ever watched European basketball, it's what Dan Hurley's system very much looks like. And it's the best way to play basketball.
Yeah. And I mean, their ball movement today was awesome. They had some wide open shots, partly to BYU defensive breakdowns, but also there's no one better at it than Dan Hurley, man.
Yeah, so and with the Euro game translates so much better than NBA stuff. But yeah.
Shout out Nathaniel, UConn fan here. AJ is that dude. Great game, boys. Great game to you as well, my friend.
Yeah, GG's. I mean, that was
a squad.
And that's awesome. I'm sure you've mentioned this 1,000 times already, but just such a perfect test for BYU. It took BYU until that Thanksgiving game against Purdue last year to really find their first test, and even that and then they get punched in the face by Providence. Getting this out of the way early and getting punched in the first half like they did will do a lot going forward. And this is also yeah, you lost the game. There's no, you can say moral victories or not. Like this is a moral victory tonight. And I know that's lame and that's loser talk, but it is.
If you ever were to have a moral victory, like this is the game you point at. This is exhibit A, because you saw everything you wanted to see except for like the W and the win column. But it couldn't be to like a much better team, you know? Like if you're gonna lose
Yeah,
to
no.
anyone, lose to
And
UConn and Boston.
and the fact that BYU still competed and still was in this game with Kaba Keita being out, Mood Davis being out, and just dealing with all that and dealing with a semi-road environment. I actually feel like it was decently neutral. There was a ton of BYU fans here tonight, so
Really?
like I mean, it was definitely more UConn, and UConn had basically a student section on the other end of the basket. But nah, man, you were saying proud earlier. I think that's a great way to put it.
What did you get to see, like anything like there in person? Like what was the bench like during the bad and the good times, KY, all that stuff? What do you think?
Bench was pretty quiet during the bad, and it was interesting because like whoever whoever was definitely coming in next for a guy, like so for example, like I'm not saying this. Let's just use this as an example. Kaba screws up something, and then he goes to the bench and looks at Xavion immediately and says something like, "Don't do that when you go in," or "Watch for that when you go in," or something like that. That was something interesting to see when you see that in person. Number one thing I saw in person, Kevin Young was pissed with the officiating. Like, I don't think I've seen him that animated with the refs ever. And he was taking a page out of the Dan Hurley book.
Dan Hurley, from what I could see on the broadcast, you tell me, he seemed eerily calm
Yes,
for this
yes.
game.
If you saw the video I put out there of his reaction after AJ got that blocked call, which bang bang call either way, and I was like, did this guy take an edible before the game? Like, or just like when like a really scary like supervillain, like he's just like, yeah, it was eerie because Kevin Young was the animated one. I mean, he was in the officials' ear all night,
Mhm.
waving his arms, stomping. He got the coach's warning during the game. I mean, yeah, he was pissed.
Yeah, I was shocked. I mean, Dan Hurley's MO, right, is the intense, loud in the ref's face the entire time. But he seemed pretty chill. Maybe he's saving it for the Arizona game. Maybe he's pacing himself. It's a long season, Carter. Um, see, let's let you answer some of these chats.
Let's do it.
All right, our guy Gary, don't know who he's a fan of exactly, but shout out for being in here. He says, "What are y'all's thoughts on UConn being a blue blood?" This is not BYU related, but this is what's in the chat, Carter.
UConn being a blue blood.
Yeah.
Uh,
Do they fit the category? I
this
have
is
my
gonna be
answer. Go ahead.
so. I'm gonna go with no.
Okay.
Here, a second.
Why?
AJ's right here. Give your
Like you
answer
can't.
real quick.
All right. See what Carter can do with the AJ stuff. There he is. If you can even see that. I mean, Carter's
Is it
thing.
blurry?
Yeah, a little bit. Gary, my answer is yes. Not just saying that because BYU just played him or anything. What else do you need to be a blue blood? You have like the championships. You have incredible players who've come to the program. Great coaches. You're notable. They might not be the biggest brand. They might not have more money than some of these blue bloods. But dude, like, what does it take at this point to be
I
one?
I think Tate Frazier coined this phrase. I think they're a new blood because
It's a good phrase. Does blue
I
blood?
think
What
they're
does blue blood even mean? What does that
because
phrase
okay,
translate to?
because would you say UCLA is a blue blood?
That's the thing. Yeah, like, are we? Is it about old championships or is it just about
I think it's about the
successful
brand. I think it's about the
programs?
brands.
Then UCLA is, because
Really?
they owned basketball for like 30 years. I mean, it was way way before our time. But
In
when you
my
think of college basketball, UCLA's got to be in any conversation for what they did, right?
it might be a bad take. I would go Duke, Carolina, Kansas, Kentucky, and that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Short list from a Duke fan, no less. I think UConn's in it, man. They have everything that you need,
I mean, they're as
and
successful as any of them.
exactly. So what else do you need? And they're at the point now where they're going to be good for as long as Dan Hurley is there. Like they're in a blue blood state where like I expect UConn to be a top 10 team every single year, or at least touch it every single year, no matter what. If that's not blue
Yeah.
blood, I don't know what else is.
But like, you feel that way about Alabama right now.
The basketball team?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do, but they haven't won anything. That's the difference in my mind.
So, I guess you can't use Houston for that example because they technically didn't win it.
No, Houston's not a blue blood. You gotta have titles. You gotta put something on the history books, man. You gotta make records and you gotta stamp your name. And they haven't done that yet.
So
I'm not saying that's
Villanova,
a requirement.
I guess Villanova, but they've fallen off
They
since the
fell
Jay Wright
off.
times.
I mean, I think anyone can be one off.
I think it's still just
If
those
anyone's
4.
interested, Parker Kingston touchdown for BYU.
Let's go.
Cougs up 10-0 early against the Horned Frogs.
We need that tonight.
We need that. We need a big. How good would a? I'm not going to jinx it.
Yeah, let the game play out. Any more chats?
Got some dudes arguing in here. I'm not going to mess with it. Let them deal with that. See if Twitter's got anything. People talking about the Rob Wright turnover, Carter. I want to hear your thoughts. I talked about it a little bit. I had out all these things. What do you think?
So I had a bad angle on it because I'm here in the corner, and did he go behind his back on it?
I think he was between the legs. I think he was trying to cross his dudes, split the D a little bit.
Yeah, because I couldn't tell right there. Look, he can go behind his back. He's capable of that in the big moments. I just don't want to see the behind the back dribble, dancing, any of that. It's got to be very simple movements, and that's why you want to give the ball to someone like AJ or Richie at the end of games, because it's going to be very simple, penetrate, 2 dribble move, nothing fancy.
He was getting to the hoop, though. Like, he was driving with that move. He wasn't just doing it to do it.
Yeah, I want to see the replay. I had a bad angle of it, but
I really think, and I can't remember if I said this with you or not. I've been talking for a minute now. I really think they expected to get fouled. I really think that they were thinking, okay, we're up 3. They're up 3 late. They're going to foul us. I don't know if that's Dan Hurley's MO. I haven't watched enough Dan Hurley, but I think they were looking. They were expecting, I'm gonna get fouled, so might as well get to the rim to see if I can turn this into an and one situation. But
I think that's fair. I agree with that.
Either way, I think you should have called a timeout. And it's hindsight's 2020, but Kevin Young should have popped one there, drawn up a play.
Yeah. No, I agree.
James weighs in on the blue blood debate. He says they dominated men's and women's basketball for decades. Does women basketball count? Because they have dominated forever, man.
I mean, they are the program in that sport, so.
Yeah, it's like it was boring to watch for like 12 years because it was like, who's winning? UConn.
Yeah, it was the Bill Russell Celtics. Like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, what a great era. Gary weighs in. He says, I'm a Razorback fan. Hey, shout out Arkansas. And
with Big Suey, baby.
I agree they are a blue blood. So he agrees with me because having chips is what makes you a blue blood.
Yeah, I mean, then
I think you got to win chips. Man.
Then therefore, it's UCLA, UConn, all those teams are in it. But I don't think they're one of the top 4 brands in the sport. You can't say that.
No, I don't think you can. I think the school is probably like just too small in and of itself. But
Duke's 5,000 students.
Yeah, but it's Duke. You know what I mean? Like a bunch of rich, pretentious a-holes.
What are you talking about? That's like half of the universities in this country.
Yeah, that's true.
I've been in Boston this whole week. That's every university around here.
That is every university. That's why Connecticut's like the I don't know how to describe it. UConn itself is more of the less academic school compared to all the things going up there in the Northeast, man. I mean, you could walk to like 17 different universities if you're standing from where you're at right now, Do you enjoy Boston, Carter? You like the city?
It's nice. Yeah, I was surprised. I didn't know what to expect. I've never been here before. A lot cleaner than I expected.
It's my place, man. It's a good spot. Good spot. Someone asked a really good question before. I don't know if they're still in here or not, but I think it was someone Mason. Oh no, Eli's in with a chat. I could tell he's been dying to talk to you. So I'll let you answer this one.
Let's go.
How does BYU improve on offense?
I'm going to sound like a broken record, Chase. I think it all stems from the defensive end.
Mhm.
And outside of that, play with more urgency and pace.
Yes, I agree.
That's what won you games last year. That's how this system operates. Like, that's how the system is successful under Kevin Young. We saw it last year. We pinpoint to that game every single time, Chase. The second half of Colorado. Second half of
Yeah,
Colorado is what
I
changed
brought
the
it up when
season
you were
last year.
gone.
Yeah, when they figured out, oh, if we push the tempo, we are a different team. That we saw that tonight. They had some urgency once they got some defensive stops, but all that stems from defense. All of it. They have to be able to lock down defensively. Otherwise, I mean, it's going to be tough because they're going to give up a ton of points, especially to good teams like this if they play like they did tonight. Especially in when they were playing that weird zone. I mean, the corner was just wide open. It was naked threes left and right.
Yeah, I talked about how they abandoned that towards the end and just played lockdown man. I might be putting you on the spot here. Someone asked this earlier, or at least maybe I brought it up. I've been talking a lot, Carter, reading a lot of chats.
I know the feeling.
What is your answer to the assist problem? And I'll talk for just a sec while you think about it because I know it's a tough question. I
It
talked
is.
about like your assist is only as good as the guy making the shot, but
Yes,
at the same time, they're not exactly passing it as elite as they were like last season.
because I mean I texted you this. It felt like there was a point early in the second half where the big three didn't trust anybody else with the ball.
That's
Where
exactly what I
they
said.
were
So it's
they were
totally your
set
account.
they were second guessing every single decision. Like when they would do a little move, and if it got stopped, their next move was like, "Are we sure that I don't have this open? Are we sure I can't drive to the paint? Are you sure I can't get this?" And then once those were all locked up, they're like, "All right, I'll give it off to Dawson Baker. All right, I'll give it off to Mihailo Boskovic." Like it felt like it was a last resort to give the ball to someone that wasn't a part of the big three, and there's a lack of trust. I feel like with some of these other guys, and that'll get developed over time. But you could feel it tonight because it always felt like every single time they were looking to kick out and they saw it wasn't AJ, Richie, or Rob they were passing to, they go, "Are we sure? Am I sure?" There's a half second hesitation every single time.
I totally 110% agree. I also think there's hesitation on the shooter's side. I think they lack confidence. I think like Diamande had a thing like a wide open corner or wing
Oh yeah,
three,
man, he was
and I was like,
hesitating.
you got to take like if you're not going to take that, you shouldn't be playing in the backcourt at this point. I know you're a defensive guy, but I also know you can go and shoot that, man. So I totally agree. Um, get some more chats here. I love this question, Carter, from Kenley. Shout out Kenley. Uh, if you could bring back one player from last year's team to play with this team, who would it be?
That's an elite question.
Man,
You go first.
I think the easiest answer is Yegor Demon,
Is it?
but
I don't.
because the fit would be weird. But like, think about him coming in for the second unit. He's too good to do that. I know. Because how elite would the second unit be? Because that's what they're missing, right? A backup point guard. The real answer in my
Is down hall, right?
no, I was gonna say Moet Mag. I think the defensive presence and his ability to knock down big threes is what this
Yeah.
team really needs.
I mean, I'm assuming Moo, like, eventually if Moo plays and he's back and everything, I feel like he fits that role enough. I mean, there is seriously no one to play backup point guard.
Yeah. Like Yegor being the backup would be sick if in an ideal world, but he's too good to do that, obviously.
Yeah, because
So
I don't because I feel like if you bring in Yegor, that means you're moving Rob. Like you can't have both. I feel like you have
yeah,
to take the backup point guard. I don't think it's crazy to say Dallin just for those spot minutes. Because having that difference having the difference between Yegor and Dallin at times was critical in Big 12 play last season.
it was. It was. I see what you're saying. I still go in Moet
And
though. He remember those Moet would hit some big freaking threes.
that's fair. That's fair.
Some massive
I
threes. And BYU needs that.
I think I think Moo gets to that point where he's able to knock down those shots, but we'll see. I think both answers are fair. And also like because the thing with Dallin is you didn't want him if you're trying to compete for a Final Four national championship, you don't necessarily want him as your lead point guard.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, so
You're totally
good
right.
question though.
Great question, Kenley with a K. our guy.
Oh, that's my brother.
I know it is. Of course.
Okay, it broke
Come
up,
on.
and I was like, did he say Kinley?
Hold on a sec. He gets wrong. The answer is Catchings.
You know what?
who
Is it
who
that
was it?
crazy of a is that crazy of an answer? Like,
Get out of here. Come on. No, good attitude, Cannon Catchings.
good attitude. We gotta move on before we get in trouble.
Yeah. Gary, shout out our Razorback, still hanging out. He says, "Do y'all think UConn play tonight is good enough to beat Arizona?"
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, I do. It's going to be an unbelievable game, but I mean, I'm not going to. I think this Dan Hurley team can beat anybody in the country. I think Arizona can clearly beat anybody in the country. I think that's a true 50-50 ball game to this point. Koa Pete should have a game, though, against them, especially if he's getting the same calls AJ started to get in that second half.
Yeah.
That's going to be a problem.
Yeah, I mean, our guy Rob Doster talked about, those guys guarding AJ, how many fouls, they would occur. If Koa Pete,
And he wasn't getting those calls in the first half, man.
He was not at all. If Koa Pete has, a similar type of performance he had against Florida, Arizona's, I think, near impossible to beat. But pound for pound, my pick will be UConn. Excuse me, my pick would be UConn for that game.
I think it would be
awesome, though. It's gonna be cinema, though. Another great game.
I mean, I'm telling you, I still think BYU's in that national title contender tier. I mean, I think there's almost a dozen teams to this point that are in that tier, and we'll see it more also play out throughout the season.
Yeah, 100% agree, man.
Because I mean, you go down the list. I think Florida's going to figure it out with their two guards. I think Duke's going to figure. I mean, Duke looks like a wagon right now. I mean,
what do they need to figure out? They're freaking awesome. Yeah.
I still worry about the point guard position for Duke, but there's so many good teams, man. This is such a good year for college basketball. I mean, Rob said it on our last show.
Yeah.
I mean, does it get better than this? This is the best college basketball has been maybe ever. I mean, there's so much freaking talent. Next year might be a different story.
Yeah, the freshman class is the big. What I also love about the freshman class this year, little off topic, they all spread out. They all went their own way to their own schools, and they're all awesome. And so all these schools are awesome.
And Chase, they all play so effing hard every single possession, every single night. All these dudes are playing as hard as they can on both ends of the ball. And there's no I mean, there's a couple of guys you can name, but out of the top 7, 8, 9 freshmen, they're all playing insanely hard. They don't take possessions off, which is unlike a lot of these kids coming out of AAU.
It really is. I love the attitude on all these guys. I talked about it with AJ.
Caleb Wilson? Are you kidding me?
Yes, dude.
Cam Boozer?
Pete, Cam Boot, dude. Yeah, this is. Oh, the draft's gonna be so fun because
the NCAA tournament is gonna be unbelievable. Conference tournament week. I mean, Chase, we're only hey, it's only November, Chase. It's only November.
Oh man, it's been an awesome start to the season, and you're right. It's only gonna get better. Man, it's been so fun. Speaking of freshmen, talk about watching AJ in person. Some of those stuff. I know you shared a little bit of thoughts, but man,
it was in that second half. He had that. I think he had a little tough mid-range turnaround, and then he hit that three right after that. When he knocked down that three, and I think he at that point he had 11 or 12 points in the game. You could see this look in his eyes that clicked, and he goes, "Okay, I got it. I figured it out." And what I loved about what he did in that latter part of the second half was he demanded the ball, and he wasn't scared at all. Because before it felt like he was a little timid, it's just overthinking everything in the first half. And then he got into that zone where he just wasn't thinking; he was just playing ball. And then he finally realized, I mean, with those mid-range shots. No one's ever going to block that shot. Not one person in college basketball is going to be able to block that shot against AJ, and he'll always have that as his go-to shot. Doesn't matter. I mean, he's taller than everyone. He can hit that. Doesn't matter if you're guarding him or not at that point. It's that good.
Was it Stewart who that 10-footer fadeaway pretty much had the best defense you could have, but still fouled and AJ still made it, and it was okay, that's unbeatable.
It didn't matter. And it's going to be interesting because I feel like we're going to see a lot of these social media accounts eventually just be when AJ makes these like weird herky jerky moves or like different little post moves, everyone's gonna be like, was this a travel? Because sometimes I'm like, was that a travel or was that just a dirty post move? And it looked clean when I looked back at it. So
He got called for a few. The one he had on Caravan where he got in the lane, left shoulder fake to the right, and then
yes,
finished with his left
that's what I was talking
like,
about.
yeah. I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's so different.
Like
No, it was so fun to watch.
it is just going to be a game of roulette or it's just going to be a revolving door every single week on who's the best freshman in the country. You know what's going to boil down to, Chase, is which one is playing in a big game. Oh yeah, that freshman's probably going to perform in a big game. They're all performing in their biggest game so far. It's crazy.
That's the thing. That's the thing. Like, who's been a flop? Like, no one. Maybe like you're like, can we see more from Ament?
Yeah,
Or
that's what
like,
I'm saying. Nate Amet is the only one I'm like, and I mean, I wasn't very high on him going into this season, anyways. But like, even then, like, okay, he's still probably going to be a fringe lottery pick.
oh, easy. Yeah. I mean, we're blessed. Chat's awesome right now. First off, Mason says, "Is Brody Kozlowski still in a boot? Did you get to see get your eyes on Kozlowski's foot, Carter?"
I'm not gonna lie, so I'll show you guys my view right now. So this is my view. This is my view during the game and everything. We got some women's basketball on right here. Say I don't, I'm always watching. Yeah, I'm tuned in.
Stay locked in.
I wish they could just turn the BYU game on, to be honest. And so walking over here, I don't have a good view of the bench. And I'm not gonna lie, guys, I wasn't locked in on Brody Kozlowski tonight. So my guess is, I mean, I don't even know if he can redshirt again. I don't know what's going on.
Our on the court reporter is low key dropping the ball.
Hey man, I'll tell you what. Okay, we'll give you a little something. Kaba Keita walking off. It did not look good. And I saw him in the post. I saw him in the post game afterwards. I mean, I think he's just shaking up. I mean, that was a hard hit. He took it with a shoulder. That dude was moving full speed. He got clocked, man. I wouldn't be surprised if he got knocked out for a second. He looked like he was in rough shape. I mean, I'm sure he's gonna be okay eventually, but I mean, he ain't practicing for a minute. He definitely had a nasty concussion because I mean he was getting helped off by Xavion. He was seeing stars, man.
Ugh, that's sucks because it looked like he was side of the head, but like right in the temple.
Yeah, like it was weird, and he was shaking up real bad. So
that sucks to hear.
And go ahead.
I would say the chat's awesome right now. Eli says, "Can AJ have a better freshman year than Cooper?"
Yeah, win in your national championship, you're gonna have a better freshman season.
I mean, if he takes a game-winning shot and it's not a fall away and he doesn't slip or miss it, then technically yes.
Stop.
Hey man, no one. I love Cooper just as much as you do.
I know.
Gary with a good question says, AJ or Cam B, which are you taking to start your team?
NBA, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, I'm assuming so.
NBA, I'm going AJ DePanza. I think he fits the NBA game more. I think his ceiling is going to be a lot higher than Cam Boozer. But if I'm talking college ball right now, I'm taking Cam Boozer. I think Cam Boozer is going to have the better season at Duke this year, especially with the numbers he's going to put up. I mean, Chase, last night against Indiana State, he put up, 35, 13, and 4, and it honestly looked pretty easy. That's how ridiculous. His stat lines are going to be fake. It's going to look like Minnesota Timberwolves Kevin Love. You would just be watching League Pass some nights, and you're like, Kevin Love has 27 and 20? What is happening right now?
Yeah, I'm a big Celtics fan, Gary. I know it's probably your first time watching us. If I was a Celtics GM, I'd want Cam Boozer because it's just the fit. But if I'm a team looking for a star, then I'd go AJ. AJ's got a higher ceiling as far as like carrying a team, but Cam can fit anywhere and do all the things that you would ask him to do.
You know what's going to happen, Chase?
You want Cam Boozer. Yeah,
the Celtics are going to end up with the third pick. And I think it's going to be AJ and Darren going 1 and 2. And then they're just going to end up with Cam Boozer, who's just going to be the perfect fit with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And all things work out for the Celtics. Meanwhile, the Charlotte Hornets are going to get dropped to 12th and be like, hello, hey, Nate Ament, you're a Hornet.
Nate Ament?
Yeah.
Nate Ament is a Hornet, man. He's a Hornet. Okay, so here's why I was laughing. So Mason, our guy Mason goes, is Carter's family blowing up this chat? Eli says, yes. And Kenley goes, yeah, Carter won't talk to us outside of this chat.
The people are trying to paint an Aaron Rodgers situation on me right now.
And then Mason says, that tracks. Eli says, Carter, can you get me some tickets for a broke brother? Oh, man, this is good stuff. Jack says, shout out Jack. He's been in and out. He says, will Carter throw hands with Dan Hurley?
No, I will not be throwing hands with Dan Hurley. I did see Jack during the game. I'm probably going to try and see Jack after the game, hopefully, once we hop off here. I don't know where Jack is. He's gallivanting somewhere around Boston.
He's gallivanting somewhere around Boston, like Chapel Roan, just out on the streets. Man, what a night. I have never had this much fun in a live, probably ever, but I've certainly never had this much fun after a loss. This was great.
Yeah, I mean, that's this thing, man. Sometimes I'm ready to do these live at the game. I'm hoping we get a better result on Friday. That's crazy. Also, is that Thanksgiving's next week, Chase? Like, that's insane.
What's going on? Yeah,
I know. And then so Friday, I'll be at the Delta Center. It'll be a much better experience. I don't have to set up Field of 68 after dark, so we'll be here the whole time. I can actually read chats and be on my computer. Finally.
Yeah,
finally. And I don't have to pop in and out. We'll be fine. We'll be able to lock in. Hopefully, and hopefully we can get some guests on the show for that one too.
Yeah, it would be special. And hopefully, we see second half BYU.
Any last thing before we go? I don't want to end on a negative. We'll talk about it on a pod this week. How about that? Good little teaser.
Sound good. I'll go one last chat. Shout out Swervin10. He's been hanging out with us all night.
What
Says,
up?
do you think you guys, referring to BYU, I don't know if he's talking to us in the chat, but he says, do you think you guys can take down Houston?
That's an excellent question, because Chase, I don't know if you felt this way at some point in the game. I go, oh man, can this team beat Houston? Like, can they? Because UConn was punching them in the mouth in the first half, and I go, oh man, like, can they respond to this against Houston? If Gabe Ikeda and Moo Davis are playing, absolutely they can beat Houston. They have the level of physicality needed to go against them. And also, look, for as good as Yegor Demon was and as good as he will be in the NBA, his nightmare matchup was going against a Kelvin Sampson team that can kind of just maul you as a ball handler. And he's not a super quick ball handler, doesn't have a lot of lateral quickness. Rob Wright is going to be able to handle that Houston pressure a lot better than Yegor could. So I actually like BYU's chances against Houston this year, much better than last year, obviously.
Agreed. I think BYU can beat anyone. They're that good. They're that talented.
Yes.
They could beat anyone in the country.
We saw that tonight.
Given night. Exactly. But Houston's the bar, and I think Kelvin Sampson's the best coach in college, and they'd have a game plan. It'd be really hard. I'm excited to watch. At Houston, I'd probably pencil in a loss right now. But when Houston comes to Provo, man, I think that'll be an incredible game. With BYU's crowd and the matchups in that one. But Houston's the bar. I mean, they're so freaking good. Can they beat them, though? Yes. They can.
Also, Justin Young was giving us a little crap since we're not living in Provo anymore, by the way.
He's giving us crap for not living in Provo?
Yeah. I mean, I think there was a little bit of jealousy from him with me being in Carolina. I did tell him, this is going to be a little, breaking news, but, gained some weight since moving back to North Carolina. And he goes, yep, he's like, that's the natural progression of life, basically. Like, you're going to move back to the South. You have to gain a minimum of 10 pounds.
Yeah. I mean, I can see it. I was down in Carolina, as you know, a couple weeks ago and ate pretty good.
Look, man.
Look at Anthony Davis.
Good. Yeah, I mean, it's not like San Antonio, man. It's not like those
big old women in San Antonio.
It's so funny too, because at the Final Four, Charles Barkley was honest. It's funny too, maybe because I was noticing it more, but that's all I could notice. I mean, I think I was looking for it a little too much
because you were there in person. For anyone confused,
yeah. I went down to the Final Four last season and just looking around.
Just
like
anyone in the chat's wondering what we're laughing about. Carter goes and Bear Bachmeyer just ran one in. Cougs up 17-0. Carter.
Let's go. That's what I want to hear. That's what I needed to hear right now, Chase.
That's good. Jack says, just gallivanting around Boston. Uber driver canceled on me, so that's lit.
Ah, what a loser. But anyhow, Chase, any final takeaways?
BYU's going to be all right. They're going to be fun. They can beat anyone. They can lose to anyone. Not to anyone, but we might see the full spectrum of this team throughout the season. We're going to have the highest of highs. We're going to feel some lows for sure, but it's good to know they're legit. They're at halftime. And at the under 16, I was really getting somber for some of the things I was going to have to say on this podcast. I'm so glad that they turned it around and showed who they actually are, and that is a legit college basketball team. The sky is the limit. Shout out UConn, incredible game. This is what college basketball is all about, baby. I had an awesome time, and man, shout out everyone for joining the live.
Yeah, shout out everyone for popping in the live, and thanks for everyone to excusing me for having to pop in and out and on a blurry phone right now. Probably, I don't know how it looks on the live stream right now. It looks pretty good to me around here, but doesn't matter. And also, I'm just thank goodness we're playing big time college basketball games, man. We need more of these. We need more of these top 10 matchups night after night after night. That's been the biggest problem so far with some of the stuff this season. Yeah, I love the mid-major stuff, but I want to see. I still want to see Purdue, Alabama. That's what is going to draw, especially the casuals, into this sport more. These games tonight are critical.
100%. And tonight was a great night for it, man. And they delivered. And it's special sport. I'm grateful to be a little bit of a part of it with you.
We'll be back. We got Wisconsin preview this week. We'll talk takeaways from this one. We got a lot to get to on the next pod coming up, and then after Wisconsin, we'll be coming live from the Delta Center. So excited for that.
Yes, sir. Can't wait. All right.
Well, that does it.
Catch y'all on the next live. Seriously, shout out for hanging out for an hour and 20 minutes. You're all the best. See you next time. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.